Hi all, this is Skate, and let's talk Tiger 2. It's an icon of a tank. It's a bit of a legend, and its name is known as King Tiger, yet it's never really lived up to that, because it's always been a bit meh in Blitz, nothing exciting, and nothing to write home about, and a tier 8 heavy tank which really wasn't reliable in terms of armour. Since the buff though, oh damn, it's tough on the front, it's tough when it's angled. It's just tough full stop now. Maybe a little bit too much, and I know people are going to disagree with what I'm going to say in this video in many aspects. But I think this tank did deserve such an armour buff. The only thing, and in my opinion this is the only thing that's overcooked, is the lower plate. The Tiger 2 now has 160mm on its front lower plate. To put this in perspective, an E75 has 130mm on its frontal lower plate. An E100 has 150mm on its front lower plate. Mr. Tiger 2, 160mm. It's bloody strong. So with that in mind, this thing's been buffed up to 160 on the upper plate, which gives you around 240mm of effective thickness without doing any further angling. And the lower plate is around 260 due to its angling without trying to add more angle in your tank. E100, 150mm on the lower plate, gives you around 230mm when this tank is pointing directly forward. So yeah, I think it's fair to say the front lower plate is a bit too strong. And then you got to remember at tier 10, the tanks firing at your lower plate have more penetration. So in other words, you've got much better lower plate on the Tiger 2. Which, as I mentioned, I'm personally very, very happy to see the Tiger 2 buffed quite well. But I do think that lower plate is a little bit too much. And then you've got to remember, people coming into the game who grind up this line are going to think the E75 is just like the Tiger 2. And then they're just going to drive forward, not learn to angle, and so on and so forth, because they've got a pretty much invulnerable lower plate. So with things like that, I personally say everything else is great in terms of armour on this thing now. Front lower plate though, maybe drop it back a little bit from 160 to say 130, the same as the E75. I think that would be fair. The emphasis in this video, by the way, these two replays I'm going to show you are not damage done. The two replays are about damage blocked. As it stands now, we are up over 2,200 damage blocked, which, for a tier 8 tank, is a bloody respectable figure. And in the next game, we're going to be blocking even more. I think we're just shy of 6,000 blocked damage across 2 games. That's something a T22 medium would be proud of. It's also enough to kill us nearly 4 times over. So yeah, the armor's good. I mean, the armor's really good. And I have mentioned buffing, buffing. Can you imagine buffing the lower plate even more? I mentioned that, personally, I think the lower plate should be a little bit weaker. But that doesn't mean that that would make this tank awful again. It would still be an amazing tank. In the next replay I'm going to show you, we'd still block an awful lot of damage, even with 130mm on the lower plate, instead of 160mm, because the rest of the armor on this thing is fantastic. I mean, side scraping in this, you've got to point your gun at whatever you're pointing at or whatever's pointing at you, otherwise your cheeks become vulnerable. Because if we're talking turret quickly, you've got 220 on the front plate around the gun, and on the cheeks, which are obviously slightly angled, you've got 100mm, but pointing directly at a target, that goes up to 290 effective thickness. As soon as you point your gun away from something, those cheeks rapidly drop off on effective thickness. And you can easily, very quickly drop that below 200, making it a very easy pen. So, when you're side scraping this thing up, you need to be making sure that your gun is pointing at the enemy tank always, so you don't show your vulnerabilities. Quick note on this replay, you will notice my entire team have gone the other direction, and I thought, do you know what? Screw it. I'm going this way to see what heavies I can hold off, deal with, hold the line. Because I'm in a Tiger 2. So I thought, it's worth a laugh. Let's see how we get on. And there's an IS-6, there's a KV-4, and there's an AMX-49. As it stands, we have blocked all 3 shots which have come in at us. And that's literally what I am going to do in this thing. Hold the line. And again, we're in a Tiger 2. We are going to do it really, really well. So at the start of this battle, people may have watched this replay and gone, oh, he's gone alone. What an idiot. But again, remember, we're in a Tiger 2. That's the first shot that's penetrated us. We've blocked nearly 1,500 damage already. And although at the start it may have looked like, an idiot, he's gone the wrong way, we're holding the line against 3 enemy heavies. On the other side of the map, that gave my team the advantage of a 6 versus 4 situation, and if you look at the top right now, they have wiped all 4 out no problem, because I am dealing with all 3 of the tier 8 heavies alone in a Tiger 2. We're not exactly struggling either. I mean, we've taken 1 out, the other 2 tier 8 heavies are left, but my team are going to come around and obviously help out with these guys. I would be pretty confident we would last longer, even if they took longer to come round and help. But as it stands, they both went for the hatch that time, I think. But we're still up to nearly 3,000 damage blocked. We've just crossed 3,000 damage blocked. And that's the end of the game. 7-0. I don't think that would have been a 7-0 if we didn't come this way and deal with all 3 heavies at once. This is only a quick video, obviously. There's only 2 replays in it, and they are quick replays. But in that very, very short period of time, nearly 6,000 damage blocked in a tier 8 tank, I think is very, very respectable. And it's not like we played it super cautious. We went rolling in the heavy route alone. Like an idiot. And Mr. Tiger 2 does not care. And I'm glad to see the Tiger has had some love, or the Tiger 2 has had some love. I think if and once that lower plate is toned off a little bit, this would still be a phenomenally good tier 8 heavy now. I mean, the gun is great on this thing. The armour frontally is fantastic. It's got good gun depression. If you're using the full gun depression at an angle, your upper plate goes up to 280, 290 millimeters of effective thickness, which again, puts you as a very hard tank to address. Stay tuned though for a more in-depth Tiger 2 video where we're going to go through the gun, everything, and basically how I try to play this tank when I'm not playing it like an absolute idiot to try and highlight the armour. But thank you all for watching this very quick one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.